life lesson episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast. This week in the calendar year actually is a week that's super exciting for me. I love this week because this is a week that is my athletes that I coach, it's their state meet week and for track and field. And this is a week where we get to see for those that have qualified for their state meet. And I have the way that Texas is set up this year, the private school state meet is this week, the public school state meet is next week. So I actually got 2 weeks to enjoy this excitement as I have athletes competing in both meets. The big thing is the work's been done. They can, as I told one of my athletes, you can do too much and you can do too little to mess up what's going to happen. And so there is a sweet spot to stay where you want to stay and be ready. And a lot of people mistakenly think everything's been done. It's the week, like just rest the entire week and get ready. And that's not what you need to do. But you also don't need to work too hard because you'll get to the start line too tired to compete. And so there is a fine balance there. And I've heard other coaches say that there's not, and that's a falsity. There absolutely is a way to fine tune this and make sure that you get to the start line 100% ready. A big piece of that puzzle is your belief system. And that's what I want to talk about today in relation to the rest of our life and the rest of our world and everything else we do in life. It's our belief. If we believe we belong wherever we are, that's a big step in being able to see ourselves be successful, to see ourselves be happy, to see ourselves reach our goals. First, we have to believe we belong. Whether it's you believe you belong in the conversation, you believe you belong in the boardroom, you believe you belong in the position you're in, the relationship you're in. Like there's so many different places where we feel like we don't belong, where imposter syndrome starts to set in. And the first step is you have to feel like you belong. Then, whether you win or lose is not necessarily because there's other people. When it comes to state, there's other people involved. There's competition. You can't control what they do. You can't control what the weather does. You can't control all these other things. And that's okay. What we can control is, do we believe we belong? Do we believe we have a chance? And if we do, then do we try our best? And if we do those things, we cannot be upset with the results. We might not be satisfied. We might not be happy, but we cannot be upset with the results. If we believe we belong, we believe we have a chance, and we try our hardest. If we do those things, then it wasn't this week that messed it up. It was maybe we didn't do enough, right? Maybe our plan wasn't good enough. Maybe our coaching wasn't good enough. Maybe our nutrition, maybe whatever, right? Maybe we didn't have the skills that we thought we needed. Or maybe somebody else just outworked us. Maybe somebody else just wanted it more. Maybe somebody else just, because there's people out there like that. Absolutely. It's really, really, really hard to be the best. Overall, it's not really hard to be the best you. That's not really hard. It can be intimidating because fear is involved. Like I said, imposter syndrome's involved. Belief in ourself is involved, right? And so we have to look at ourselves and look internally first before we get to the start line. We have to look inside us and understand who we are and understand what we want and understand that do those two things match, right? We have to do that work internally to make sure that when we get on the start line for whatever it is, or we enter the boardroom, or we go to ask somebody out on a date, whatever that thing is, that we're ready and that we're going to do our best. And if you do all those things and you do your best, no matter what the outcome is, because the outcome is also going to be dependent on things that we can't control. And I always tell all my athletes, because a lot of them ask me, like, okay, what time do I need to run? How fast do I need to run? I was like, when it comes to the state meet, you throw that out the window. It is about competition. Because, and I say this as I won 3 state titles, so I can absolutely say this from experience. People talk to me about the fact that I won a state title. They don't talk to me about the fact that what did I run in that meet. They ask me what my best time ever was. How fast was I ever? What's my fastest I ever ran a mile? What's my fastest I ever ran a 5K? They don't ask me, what did I run to win state? So the time is irrelevant in specific time, specific places. Usain Bolt won 3 Olympics. He did not set the world record at the Olympics. He set the world record outside of the Olympics. And that happens more often than not, that the world records in track and field are set outside of the Olympic Games. And it's just a fact. It's just the way that it works. And there's a lot of times where the world record holder does not win the Olympic title for various reasons. And that's whether that's track and field or a lot of different sports. And relating that to our life, in that we may not do our best in the biggest moment. That doesn't mean the biggest moment can't be successful. And that doesn't mean we can't try our best in the biggest moment. But it starts with belief. It starts with understanding who we are. It starts with believing we belong. And if you believe you belong, then you can continue on that journey and be successful. But you have to believe you belong to be able to get the outcomes and be able to because that's all you can control. You can't control the weather. You can't control the competition. You can't control the officials or the judges or your boss's decision or your employer's financial situation. There's so many things you can't control. You can't control your spouse's day when they're off at work and they come home and they're having a bad day and they're in a bad mood because they've had conversations that were tough. You can't control any of that part. What you can control is, do you belong in the relationship? And if you do, and you believe in the relationship, then you can try your hardest to help your spouse through those situations. So I know that I probably covered 3 or 4 different spots of life lessons in this episode. So hopefully it was helpful. If it is, please share it with somebody. If you got something out of this, please share it with somebody. Please subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to Apple Podcast, leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you're watching this. I would appreciate it, and thank you for the continued support. I'm over 400 episodes now, or will be quickly. I think this is really close to 400. So I thank you and appreciate you, and it means a lot to me that I can help someone else, because that's where I feel like I belong. That's what's important to me, and it's not that I know everything, because I don't. What I do know, I try to pass along. What I find successful, I try to pass along. What works, I try to pass along. And that's the whole point of why I started this podcast, is to just help people improve their life, improve their health, and gain confidence to be able to tackle the things that they feel that they belong, where they feel they belong, and the things that they feel like they should be doing. So that's the life lesson for this episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast.